Jumping into lesson 2 for our practice problems, looking at problem number 1. When Han, or maybe it's Han, I don't know, Star Wars fans, it's Han, makes chocolate milk, he mixes 2 cups of milk with 3 tablespoons of chocolate syrup. Here is a table that shows how to make batches of different sizes. So he's even provided a table for you here of how to make all these different chocolate milk recipes. Use the information in the table to complete the statement. Some terms are used more than once. All right, so we could have some duplicates here. The table shows a proportional relationship between, where's the relationship? It's between cups of milk and chocolate syrup. So I'm going to shorten this. It's the relationship between the amount of milk and syrup used. The scale factor shown is, okay, so the scale factor is what gets you between each of these different sizes. The scale factor that is shown is multiplied by 4. So we have the scale factor of 4. That's the one that's being shown. But the constant of proportionality for this relationship is different, okay, because that times 4 only works for this first pair. The constant of proportionality works for every milk to syrup relationship, which is the relationship between the two. All right? And the way that you get the constant of proportionality is you take the number from your y value, which is typically in the right side of the table, and you divide by the number in your x column. So constant of proportionality, we'll call it k, as we always will, is y divided by x, which in this case we could set it up 4 different ways. We could do 3 over 2, we could do 12 over 8, we could set it up as 15 over 10, and then, you know, the 3 halves to 1 actually tells you when you have x as 1 in your proportionality, then the y is actually telling you what your constant is, which all of these just reduce to that 3 halves is the least simplified version there. And that's our constant of proportionality. If I multiply all of the x values by 3 halves, not 3/3, but 3 halves, it will give me what's over here on the right. 1 times 3 halves is that. 8 times 3 halves is 12. Another way to think about it, all you decimal lovers out there, it's the same as 1.5. That's an acceptable answer here for the constant. You can give me 3 halves or 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, mixed number. The units for the constant of proportionality are, anytime you get the constant of proportionality, think about how you set it up. Y was representing syrup, the numerator. So everything in the numerator up here is representing syrup. And everything in the denominator down here is representing milk. So your constant, whenever you divide it in that order, 3 over 2, needs to stay that way whenever you give it in units. We have 3 parts syrup for every 2 parts milk. And that answers question number 1, problem number 1. And you get some bank of terms down here, but that's what you had to plug in. Tablespoons of chocolate syrup, that went here. 4 here, cups of milk here. We used that twice and syrup twice. 3 halves, 1.5, we used all those numbers. So this was like numbers and words that we used. I just kind of abbreviated mine a little bit.